Okay, so today I'm going to talk about internet memes and how they're helping to shape something similar to a public sphere, or we can debate if they generate in public sphere or not. This presentation comes out of a series of workshops that we conduct with XNet, and they're called Radical Community Manager Workshops, and they're aimed at self-orgs, social movements, or citizens, and they aim to help them to improve their skills, online skills, help them to use better networks, and to know how to generate their own campaigns, generate virality, and shape the debates and in what's going on in Spain at the moment. So I'm going to talk first. I'm going to talk a little bit about memes in general, what they are, where they come from, and then I'm going to explain a little bit the role they had in the recent political movements in Spain, and how they've been affecting the debates that they've been carrying out in the last 2 years or so. Internet memes are things like this: funny images that convey messages, usually humorous messages, but in most cases they can actually deliver some kind of idea, powerful idea that spreads and generates something like a social consciousness about something. So it's helping these digital objects, usually image plus a sentence, that go through networks, people replicate them, people reshape them, people contribute to them, and it generates debate, okay? Where do they come from? The original term, meme, comes from a book by Richard Dawkins in 1976 called The Selfish Gene. And it's a very sort of old-fashioned kind of neoliberal subjectivity kind of book, in which basically he says that we all carry genes. Genes aim at replicating themselves. So what we are, gene carriers, and our life is just there to help our genes go on from one generation to the other. So we all just fight each other from individually in order to be able to be the ones who replicate our genes. So we become sort of individualistic kind of subjects because what we are trying to do is replicate our genes. And that's why we fight against each other, and that's why to be selfish is not something moral, but something ingrained in your biology. Alongside with those genes, he says there's something else that helps us to adapt to the environment, which are what he calls memes, which are ideas that we replicate, ideas that go through one body to another, helping us to adapt to the environment. That is, if you see someone else cooking food with fire, and you see that person is getting more out of that food than raw meat, that's a good idea, so you replicate it, and by doing so, you adapt better, and by adapting better, you contribute to give longevity to your genes. So memes and genes contribute to make us be able to survive in the world. I mean, there's many critiques to this idea, especially because there's no human agency in all this. It seems that we're just sort of carrying genes that make us do whatever we want. Also, this idea we're mere transmitters and we have no idea or no way to negotiate with what these memes are saying is another sort of, sometimes we can have an idea, hear an idea, and we can decode it, and so there's many critiques to this idea. But it's interesting how this very sort of academic kind of debate suddenly jumps into the internet and transforms completely and turns into something different. Internet memes are a source of social creativity, are forms of collective intelligence and collective stupidity. And I'm going to always talk about this idea of the ambivalence these memes have, because they can be really, really smart and they can be really stupid, but by being stupid, they become smart, and that's how they operate politically. And what's interesting about these elements is that they can jump from one platform to the other very easily, and that's how they replicate, and by jumping from one side to the other, they become powerful. It's very difficult to establish a clear genealogy of where internet memes come from, because, well, it's stupid to do so. And anybody who studies media knows that any media object comes from different trajectories, and they always crossing, and it has. So there's promiscuous stories behind every kind of media, and this is again another form of media, so it's unclear where it comes from. But I'm gonna put out some of the examples of previous known memes and how they help to grow and establish what we know as memes. Kilroy was one of the first non-digital memes to be recorded. During World War II, this face and this little inscription start appearing all across Europe, Asia, and sort of airplanes starting to carry Kilroy, and people started replicating this little thing. And this is the statue to Kilroy in the United States. Nobody knows exactly why these things start appearing in the world. There's one idea, one theory that says that Kilroy was one of the engineers working in the United States. So every time he repaired the airplane, he would write Kilroy was here on chalk, so people just saw that, and when they landed somewhere, they would replicate it. People would see that, and they started replicating this Kilroy face. It could be, nobody knows exactly, and that's where it's powerful, because nobody knows exactly where these things start or why they're there, but people do replicate them, and that's what makes them interesting. Going to digital area in 1982, Scott Feldman is a computer scientist. He was having a debate in Usenet. He was talking about equation, trying to solve an equation, and he gave a very wrong answer in a chat channel that was obviously wrong answer to the question posed. So people started storming, saying, "Oi, this is impossible. This cannot be the answer." And he said, "It was obviously a joke, but you not got it. So I propose that from now on, if we make jokes, we accompany the joke with this little sign." This is the original message that he wrote, September 82. So suddenly you have another kind of meme that is a very humorous little thing that helps to join ideas with emotional sort of aspects of the idea. That is, you not only share an idea, but you accompany with something that helps it to embed it into an emotional being, and by doing so, it goes a bit further. So this could be another sort of instance of a genealogy of current internet memes. Another important moment in the history of memes is in this game, Zero Wing. It's a Korean game, very badly translated. One of the initial pages says, "All your base are belong to us." This is a grammatically a wrong sentence. Doesn't make any sense as it is written, but it's funny. So people who used to play this game started relating to each other by using the sentence at the beginning of the communications. By doing so, they generated a sense of community and knew who belonged to the game community, who didn't. And this started to jump from one place to the other. You can see in the Arizona deserts, UFO followers or people who are seeking UFO start writing this sentence in the sand, just in case UFO actually spell English wrong. So, and you can actually see this in many other places. Another sort of origin of internet memes is 98. But is evil, which is this original picture. Somebody just photoshopped a picture of Bert with his eyebrows up. He looks like he's evil. So this is a very stupid thing to. And this is a graphic designer from Filipinas named Dino Ignacio, 1998. So he started a blog putting images of Bert looking evil. People started contributing and making it worse. But in this case, it's not still an internet meme as it is, because he still moderated his blog, chose which images to put up, chose which ones didn't go on. So still someone moderating centrally these images. Everybody started generating this idea of Bert as evil, and suddenly it goes into the world because people carrying placards supporting Osama bin Laden download images from the internet in which birth is there hidden. So suddenly he jumps from the internet, from this design in Filipinas to demonstrations and starts appearing in the world, okay? So this is how internet memes work. They jump from one side to the other, and it's this ability to jump what makes them powerful, okay? This is the year 2006, and this is the first internet meme as we know them. This is 4chan. Somebody uploaded this picture and said, please comment. It's a very stupid thing to say in 4chan, please comment. So somebody just took the same image and replied with ideas, advices. So that's the origin of advice dog. Advice dog is the first of a series of advice animals. They all advise you to do things which some make more sense, some make less sense. Soon after, this is the year 2006, other advice animals started appearing. This is a socially awkward penguin. He's always got social problems, and many people relate to these problems, and they start sharing. You got an original image, the macro, and you start adding sentences to the original image. This is the cat. He's a businessman, woman cat, but always late to his meetings because there's always things deterring him. It can be milk in the way, it can be strings, can be toilet paper, but he can never make his meetings because there's always things that interrupt him, okay? So what we see is a string, and this is 2006, a string of advice animals. Each one gives you different types of advice. Philosopheraptor is my favorite because he joins philosophy with nonsensical 4chan language. I can share my collection of him once if you feel like it. And then advice animals jump, and this is Kimo. He a picture of him. He uploaded his picture of himself in his Facebook page. Someone from Taringa, which is a exchange site from Argentina, thought that was hilarious and did the same that was being doing to advice animals, and cut his head out and put it on a macro. And in Spanish, there's thousands of advices by Kimo. He's the quintessential internet nerd. So all the comments he makes has to do with his internet connection, or his inability to have internet connection, his inability to have sex with people, or things related to his nerdism. So in Spanish-speaking countries, every time you see this person, you know you're going to get some kind of advice related to geek culture, internet, computer, stuff like that, okay? What's interesting about all these elements is that nobody defines what they're gonna signify a priori. That is, somebody launches this, he could be quintessential hamburger eater, or the cat could be something else, and it is by aggregation, people start adding sentences, and without no central coordination, they become meanings, and meanings become established. So what's interesting is nobody can define what these images are, but as soon as there's thousands of replications of these images, they establish some kind of identity. In this case, there's two identities. In the United States, it signifies something completely different to the Spanish-speaking countries. The same meme can have different meanings in different contexts, and that's what I think is interesting. There's no authorship behind them. It's very difficult to establish who the original author is, and when you establish it, it makes no sense. It doesn't change anything. So you can actually, sometimes you can locate when is the first time an image was uploaded, but since the image was uploaded until it established an identity, things can change a lot, so it makes no sense. So these function as digital folklore, that is, the oral histories turned into digital images, no authorship, it's not important, and practices and images are always adapted to new contexts, new news, new things that happen, okay? So they generate this media ecology through their movement, and they seem to generate new meanings to the world. Most memes come from a place called 4chan, which I guess you all know, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But 4chan is one of the best places in the world at the moment because everything is nice and pretty, and if you've not been If you've not been in 4chan and you try to comment, the first thing you're gonna get is that image saying you must be new here. This is a well-established meme saying you don't know what you're doing here yet. Okay, so any kind of questions you pose seems stupid. 4chan started in 2003. It's an image board in the United States, started by a 15-year-old. He just replicated a Japanese image board called Futaba 2chan. So he changed to 4chan, replicated the structure. He wanted to exchange manga images, and people just use that platform to exchange all kinds of images and comments and things. By aggregation, all these things started to happen. What's interesting about 4chan, I think there's three really interesting things. It has no memory. That is, things don't stay in 4chan very long. If a thread is interesting and people contribute to it and generate more memes, more images, stuff, the thread goes up. As soon as people start using it, it disappears and there's no register of that thread in theory whatsoever. Now there's ways to capture threads from outside, but the server doesn't store the threads at all. It's anonymous. Nobody, you shouldn't know who you're talking to. Every time you upload something, it says anonymous says, and whatever you say, so there's no way to establish a priori who is uploading things. I mean, there are ways, but users don't usually know who you're talking about. And it's got lots of users. It's one of the most popular sites. Now it's starting to decline, but in its best moments, it could have 7 million users a day, which made it one of the most popular sites in the United States and abroad, okay? So you got a place in which you got no memory, you're anonymous, and you got a lot of people sharing things and exchanging them. And that generates a very specific ecology of things happening, especially in the B channel, in which things get really wild and things can happen that nowhere else you can see are going to happen in the B channel, which is a very specific place in 4chan, in which memes generate. This is a typical thread in 4chan. Smash your face against the keyboard and see what happens. It can go up to 300 posts to that thread specifically. Has no meaning. Why would someone do it? And this is one of the biggest challenges in 4chan that's never happened. You have to count up to 5. That is, the first post that says 1, the second 2, third 5, fuck. Okay? That's never happened, counting up to 5 in 4chan, okay? Never managed to happen. But they have managed to do incredible other things, as sort of in Life magazine, or the name of all the candidates for the Person of the Year in order to write name of memes with initials, for example. So you get massive coordination if you want to, but in general, it's impossible to coordinate anything that makes sense. And that's the ambivalence that 4chan gives you. 4chan is also known by its Saturday mornings, in which you're not supposed to upload porn, not supposed to upload any pedophilia, nothing like that. Only supposed to upload cats, because it's Saturday. So on Saturday, you upload cats, and that's where lolcats started. They got their own language. They don't speak like other people. And this is one of the most famous lolcats. And then you got self-referential memes. That is memes in which you got a frame that talks about the meme itself. Okay, so if you see a meme with a black frame, you know that what's in the frame talks about the meme. So you can have several layers of referential, self-referential memes. I've seen up to 7 layers so far. And the image talks about this image. This macro is not right. Analyzing the image, well, it's funny that you not got right there, so things like that, okay? So that's, in this place is where most of these internet memes started happening, okay? And the other thing interesting about 4chan is that everything happens there, it's for laughs. If it's not funny in a weird way, you can get into trouble, okay? So that's what's... So you got really idiotic things happening. Okay? The most idiot memes are the most successful memes. There's no way to make it a successful meme if it's not slightly idiotic. And I think idiocy is what gives them political power. And they work under the logic of Dostoevsky's novel. I guess you all read in school or high school something, The Idiot. The idiot is that person that can go to the king and say, your state is too bureaucratic, your hierarchies are too strong, blah, blah, blah. And he can talk to the face of power because he's an idiot. And idiots can say the truth. In society, the joker can say the truth. Internet memes are idiots, complete idiots. And they can say the truth. They can talk to power. And that's why they become relevant in contemporary debates. Because through idiocy, through playing stupid, they can sort of provide very interesting truths and things. They also are very good at seeing what the current debates are and talking about debates. This generates something like a new digital public sphere in which people who wouldn't contribute to political debates, or people who are not extremely good at articulating political views, suddenly find a medium in which to talk about what's going on in contemporary world. That's Amaze Keanu Reeves, which is a very well-established meme that's talking about NSA, which is quite interesting to see the mixture. So what memes allow you is to lower the entry barrier to political debates and enable anybody to go into some debates which were not, and through humor, through jokes, establish some kind of social critique. Okay? So you can find any kind of relevant social issue that's going on. You can find memes talking about it. And you can find millions and millions of memes discussing through humor things that are happening. So they reflect social concerns and contribute to produce, and this is why I want to debate, some kind of public debate with very low entry barriers. I mean, you don't need to be a very expert in anything to make this comment, okay? And there's loads of platforms out there that allow you to make a meme. I mean, you don't even know how to use Paint in your computer, like the most basic. You just need an impact font and an image, and that's provided by many platforms. So there's thousands of teenagers at the moment using memes. I just want to make a short thing. The difference between memes and viral videos or viral contents, and there's something very different about one thing or the other. Viral contents are closed, and they're supposed to move as a unit, okay? So you see the viral, everybody clicks it, reproduces it, puts it in their own site, but it's always a closed unit. Meme are always an idea that spreads by change, by difference. That is, memes are completely open. It's an idea that people reproduce, contribute, so a meme is always a aggregate of units that they have no coherence, or sometimes they have, sometimes not, but it's not important. Whilst virality is a closed object that you want to move as a closed object. And there's sort of, so you can find advertising, thinking all the time through virality, closing things, while memes are open culture completely and replicable, okay? So how do memes come into the political sphere? And I'm closing now. This is the poster, one of the first posters of Occupy Wall Street. This was distributed massively through social networks. It uses the kind of characteristic of an internet meme, an image that sort of calls you somehow with a very clear message and hashtag, and very easy to replicate. Occupy Wall Street starts and has a very close relationship with Appbusters, which is specialized in design and virality. So it's not weird that one of the best things that Occupy did was generate streams of memes. And from the very beginning, you have advertising companies helping social activists to generate memes and to generate these kind of images. And that's one of the reasons why it spread so quickly through networks, even though it took much more time to gather people there, which is the big difference, for example, with Spain. One of the most important memes was "We Are the 99%," which is basically society as a large, with the 99%, I have no money, I pay my my university or whatever, I have no money, I'm the 99%. So that's one of the best sort of well-known memes. A lot of people started using this meme, contributing to it, writing something, taking a picture of themselves and uploading it. And that meme jumped from the internet into the public arena, and people were carrying suddenly this meme in their hands and made this jump from the virtual to the material world. Okay, but what's interesting is that now you got very strong meme wars happening in the world. That is, people articulating memes and other people trying to establish those memes and generate another meaning to them. For example, in the We Are 99%, the American right really quickly jumped in and generated these contra memes. That is, oi, do you really think you're the 99% of the world? So suddenly they started calling these just rich kid, go into the streets because you can. And they generated a massive amount of memes laughing at the We Are the 99% meme. So so suddenly you can find these wars against different factions trying to generate their own memes, to establish them, to make them visible everywhere. And through these clashes of memes, you can see these political debates taking place and how people are negotiating ideas, how people are negotiating what political strategies should look like and how they could work. In the United States, when memes, the war starts ending is when Muppets and Sesame Street memes operate, okay? And that's when they become completely idiotic, and you can see that that meme has lost power just because it's become just a kind of joke for everyone in the net. So Occupy Sesame Street was the greatest meme destabilizer, because once it's turned into a Muppet joke, it makes no sense to use that meme politically. Another important battle carried in the States, for example, is the Tea Party against the Republicans, the Democrats, sorry. Again, trying to generate the image of one another. This is the against the Tea Party kind of memes, which are pretty cruel with them. Well, it's the Tea Party, so they deserve it anyway. So there's thousands of memes against the Tea Party carrying. But also, American right are quite good at laughing at the Democrats. I think this is one of my favorite memes. Obama telling the kid, society is doing things for you, don't believe in yourself. Or the anti-regulation kind of memes, which are very effective at portraying politicians as how you want to portray them socially. So these memes are very good at portraying politicians, public people, in a very specific way, using a very old rhetoric that is making jokes of politicians, using humor, which has been a long tradition of how subordinate elements can negotiate power. That is, using humor to generate specific characteristics, identities, etc., distorting what the official message is. What's interesting in the United States is that internet memes actually gone into official campaigns. This was not done by the Obama campaign. This was by an artist that supported Obama, and suddenly it was adopted by the official campaign. So you can actually see how things that happen in the net that are not thought to be conventional politics can actually go into campaigns and can be adopted as part of the official campaigns, and think parts of the official campaign are completely destroyed, slashed by internet memes, so they start using it as discourses because they say it's no longer feasible. Going to Spain, it was in the 15M, which many people outside Spain call Los Indignados movement, but we always call 15M. This was the first image that started circulating in social networks, which is toma la calle, go to the streets. It's going to be 15th of May. Indígnate, get angry. And the site was Democracia Real Ya. We want democracy now, real democracy now. That's the. And interestingly, all media started talking about Indígnate get angry, but social movements preferred democracia realidad. So people started going to the streets carrying that slogan. We want real democracy. That was ULR at the beginning. By doing so, they generated a massive movement, a pro-democracy movement, going against bankers and politicians mostly, in which memes started having a massive power. Meta memes again, talking about the memes, people carrying placards, trying to be mimetic. Another movement was the PA, which is the movement to stop evictions, bank evictions of people. The PA, again, generated this meme, si se puede, we can, yes we can, it would be something like, yes we can, which became extremely popular, and people started printing them out and carrying them and going to the police saying, yes we can. And the next one that came out, I know who designed this one, nobody knows this one, but they don't want to. So it's we can, but they don't want us to be able to can. So people contributed to the slogan and generated a massive, and yes, si se puede now is one of the best, strongest sort of slogans used. All evictions you can use, hear people saying, si se puede, si se puede, si se puede, we can, we can, we can. Every time there's a victory, si se puede is and you can find stickers of si se puede all over the place. So it jumped from the first sort of internet sites to the political arena. And people started becoming quite internet-wise in the actual demonstrations, doing placards, hoping they would be photographed and uploaded on social networks with hashtags, so to generate kind of a mimetic movement. So suddenly this whole mentality of generating memes that spread through networks was also carried out in demonstrations, and you can see loads of images of people putting hashtags to their placards and things. And this is one of the latest demonstrations. These are the people with chronic disease, and they crónico-flautas. So they all adopting this sort of idea of viralizing your images, because as soon as you can get into this meme, it can spread out and it can be a political kind of way of contestation. Finishing now, I think that stupid slogans and stupid images can be very powerful in order to aggregate people, to get them together through shared ideas. They break this idea of material and immaterial, digital, non-digital worlds. They actually colliding all the time, and I think that's very interesting. Online and offline combinations of ideas get together. The most funny or the most idiot memes are usually the most successful, and it's a very interesting way at talking to power through stupidity. And that generates, articulate political ideas that are maybe in the consciousness of people, but they didn't find a place where this could turn into something. So a lot of, especially teenagers are using this medium to express themselves, but also people who are not very extremely literate, but are wanting to contribute to debates, are uploading contents. And for all this to happen, for all this to have its space, you actually need net neutrality, you need open networks that are not gonna stop censoring things. In Spain, Twitter stopped lots of hashtags when 15M stopped being able to upload tweets with some hashtags, and that was a massive problem. So you actually need open internet and net neutrality in order for these movements to make sense and to be politically viable. Thank you. We have 5 minutes for questions if there's anything you want to ask. And it's really early in the morning. Si se puede. I haven't got them with me, I'm sorry.
What about the right memes? Because I don't know. Really, I have no idea. But you showed us a lot of examples of critical. It's quite difficult to say they are left and not right, but they are criticizing social injustice and so on. And what about neo-Nazis memes? Are they working like this? And can you also think about these? I think very interesting the idea of narrow. So the narrow one who goes to the king, and as I can follow this. But would it work also if we think about radical right movement?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, completely. And there's many instances in which the radical right are using sort of left-wing aesthetics in order to convey right-wing messages, and that's a very sort of frequent image you can find. Nazi using red and black kind of images and hammers in the back and conveying very extremely racist messages. I think what's interesting is they're not that good at humor, which means they get not very replicated.
Yeah, they have a very specific symbology. If I don't know English, the word. And sometimes it's not so easy to check the message if you don't know this. Yeah, this kind of symbol. It can be also just one word. Sometimes I read something in one anti-FPÖ party in Facebook, and the people comment, and I understand the words, but I don't understand the means, yeah, for some things. And then it's sometimes also in one anti-racistische page can also come, and we don't get everything.
Yeah, no, I mean completely, and one interesting thing about internet memes, they're always intertextual. That is, they mostly refer to other things that you must know in order to that make sense. So you generate ideas because some are talking to another meme or talking to a site, which if you don't know, you're not gonna get the joke, or they're talking about. So it needs sometimes it needs a level of literacy to understand the joke, but in other kinds, like Si Se Puede, the message is very clear. The problem is if suddenly like right-wing people started using that message as their own. It would change a lot what they're trying to say with Si Se Puede. And that's why I'm talking about these battles. It's not like meanings established. It's not like a word has a clear meaning and you use it for that. It's people are negotiating words and ideas. And that is why I call it a public debate somehow. Because there is a debate and there is people saying, yes, this, no, blah, 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 blah. And I think what's interesting is the fact that this debate is taking place and there's many people there. And that's why I think it's interesting. And knowing how to use it and how to use this kind of language can be good at getting your idea through. So that's why we're teaching meme literacy to social movements, basically.
Let's have a comment also on the right-wing use of this from the experience in Sweden. I mean, we have a racist party, which is like the fourth biggest party or something now, and also like street Nazis and so on. But what they have done very successfully is using the comment fields of large newspapers. So there's an article in a large newspaper that a lot of people read, and then they all go, 50 of them, and comment on this, but trying to look like normal citizens. So they take a normal name or just call the normal person, and then say, oh, look, here we can see the immigrant, this, and so on. So here it's really sort of trying to stick out, as you say, be idiotic or like really be sort of creative. The experience in Sweden is that what the extreme right have been doing is quite the opposite, trying to be portrayed as normal as possible. So it looks like normal people think like this. This is like the norm in society, sort of. And they have been very effective in coordinating this and going to the same articles and posting a lot of comments and so on.
Yeah, like my experience is I've seen many right-wing memes that are quite successful because they are quite normal, are quite easy to understand. I mean, the message is quite clear, while left-wing movements try to be really articulate and make really clever, smart jokes. Like there's groups of feminist groups in Spain using very articulate sort of queer theory words which get no reproduction because the people are not familiar to that or don't like that kind of language. But right wing use very stupid words and common, and that makes them become familiar, and that familiarity makes them spread easily. So it's trying to understand the codes and seeing where smartness is much more to do with being funny than being really articulate and making a really eloquent sort of meme. Eloquent memes don't usually last a lot. Okay, I guess if there's no more questions now, we're in a tight schedule this morning. It's 10 o'clock, is it? Okay, so let's change and there you go.